What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another scout report, this time on Manor Solomon. We got the news from Fabrizio Romano yesterday. We got the here we go, Manor Solomon to Tottenham on a free transfer subject to FIFA clearing. And today we are going to be joined by two guests, Rafi Ben David from Israel Spurs and a regular on the channel, Amir. So let's bring them on. Rafi, long time since we saw you, about a year ago, just under a year ago in Israel for that friendly. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's good to see you after a year and a lot of changes in the recent years. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amir, welcome back to the channel once again. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm over the moon with this news. You know, you guys know how much I've been banging on about Manor. To see him, you know, the here we go from Fabrizio, really put a smile on my face finishing my shift yesterday.
Rafi, let's start off with you. I mean, what was your initial reaction to the news of Manor Solomon coming to Tottenham? Do you think that he's good enough to play for a team like Spurs?
I think we saw in the last season, he had like 5-game streak that he scored 5 consecutive goals, and we saw he has a lot of qualities. And we saw also in Shakhtar, when he played in the Champions League, he scored a lot of important goals against Real Madrid, Atalanta, and Man City, which is important for a Spurs player to score against Man City.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure he can assist us, and we need to put this transfer in the right light. He's not coming to replace Sonny or Kulusevski, or to play instead of Madison. He's coming to replace Lucas Moura and probably Brian Hill. So I think it's an upgrade for their current situation.
Amir, when you look at this deal, how do you see him fitting into the squad? As Rafi says, you know, maybe he's replacing for Lucas or for Hill, but he does play predominantly off the left, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does indeed. And I think that's where he likes to play the most, you know, cutting back onto his right foot and bending the ball into that far post like we saw for Fulham. Although he is versatile, he can play through the middle and, you know, he's been known to nip out on the right. So, you know, with Ange's system, I can see him, you know, being that versatile player. But in general, I can see him, you know, coming on for Sonny, let's say 65th, 70th minute when we need a bit more pace in the team. And I think he'll do really, really well. And I think it's a fantastic signing for us. And it's the perfect place for him to grow as a player over the next year or two.
Rafi, you know, there was a bit of a narrative around Manor Solomon potentially last season where he had a streak, like you said, about 5 or 6 games where he was scoring in a row, one after the other, brilliant goals as well. But why couldn't he keep that up for the whole season? We saw it at Shakhtar as well, like you said, you know, consistent performances there. But do you think the Premier League on a consistent basis is maybe a stretch too far, or do you think he can get to grips with things if he does get consistent minutes?
I think if there's something that is very important for Manor Solomon is working very hard. Is a tremendous player and a tremendous work rate. And I think last season he got injured in the second after the first game against Liverpool. He was out, I think, for 3 or 4 months. Then he came back. It took him some time to get back to shape, but when he started, and it was amazing to see it here in Israel. It was crazy. Everybody loves Manor in Israel, so it was absolutely amazing to see it. Even as a Spurs fan, you just love to see it. And then there was a lot of talks about the contract of Manor because he was on loan, and all the war in Ukraine and Shakhtar and all these issues. I'm sure it affected him, and it affected also the club that wanted to make him sign the contract or to go to permanent and not only loan, just to sign for the club. And I guess this is why we didn't see him play as much as he should have been playing. And now if he comes without any restrictions, I'm sure we will see a much better Manor, much more consistent, and I'm sure that everybody will love him also because he's such a lovable guy. He's in the city that I live, so I know everybody knows him. So it's just a great signing, and he's a great person that the fans just will love him. Like we love Sonny, we love Manor.
Yeah, I
Music
mean,
to our ears. Music to our ears.
yeah, I think hopefully you're right. I want to know from Amir, like, he's 23 years old, Manor Solomon. I think obviously he's been in Europe now. Obviously he went from the Israeli league to Ukraine, I think back in 2019, and by and large has been pretty good in the Ukrainian league in the short time in the Premier League. We're obviously yet to see him really explode yet in Europe, albeit he's shown flashes of quality and ability. Like, how high do you think his ceiling is? Like, do you reckon, like, Sonny's 30 now? Would you put your money in the basket of having Manor Solomon in as Sonny's long-term replacement?
It's a tricky one, Sim. We're talking about my money here, so that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. But what I would say to that is I'd give him these 12 months to see what level of improvement and how high is his ceiling. It's a tricky one because we haven't seen him consistently play for 30, 40 games in a season. And we probably won't see that in this first year. So for me, it's seeing if the player is improving like Kane did, when he was 23, 24, 25, 26, even he was still developing his game and, creating chances, adding assists to his game. So for Manor to improve, I want to see personally, his finishing. He needs to be a little bit more clinical. In the match against Andorra that we won, he scored the winning goal, although he could have had a hat-trick. On another day, he should have had a hat-trick, really. He was through one-on-one with the keeper a couple of times. Very frustrating for him to miss those chances. If that's something that he can improve on and add some more assists to his game and his decision-making, so, when he does take a player on, dribbling, go left, go right, sometimes the pass isn't quite there, similar to maybe an Aaron Lennon type, who could jink past the player, jink past another player, and then the ball will go out for a corner or something. So if those things can be worked on within this year, learning off Sonny, learning off Kane, learning off Kulu, I think his ceiling's very high. And could he replace Sonny? I don't think anyone can replace Sonny, to be quite frank. But could he come into that role and do well for us? For sure. I have no doubt.
Yeah, that's a good comparison to make because I messaged Sim last night after watching a lot of compilations of Manor Solomon last night. He did remind me of his running style, a bit like Aaron Lennon. But would it be fair to say, Rafi, that he could be maybe an Aaron Lennon off the left, but that also can marry that with end product at some point as well? Because we saw in those 6 games where he made a name for himself, we saw that end product, but we didn't see that on a consistent basis. But for Shakhtar, maybe we saw that a bit more. And he actually displaced Mudryk out of the team for Shakhtar, and he ended up going for £100 million. So do you see those similarities to Aaron Lennon in his game, Rafi?
Yeah, that's funny because I had a conversation today with someone that has said that is like Aaron Lennon. So I guess everybody sees the same. I think he will have... It will be more threat than Aaron Lennon because of when he comes from the left, as Amir said, he can whip the ball the far corner, something that we haven't seen ours a lot because he always played on the right. I think also Manor in Shakhtar, a lot of times he came from the middle. He had one amazing goal at Real Madrid when he just took the ball in the first run through the middle. So it's also something that we can use and gives him the versatile, like Amir said. So Aaron Lennon, I think an upgraded Aaron Lennon will be a very good, will be very good for us. I'm not sure that he will replace, as Amir said, but Aaron Lennon will be a good situation for us.
I mean, we're getting Manor Solomon, looks like, on a free transfer, subject to FIFA clearance and maybe being sued. We'll have to wait and see. If this wasn't a free transfer and maybe we were on the market, how much do you reckon his value would be? What do you reckon he'd be going for?
It's a tricky one. I would say anywhere between 18 to 25, 26 million, somewhere around there, I would say.
Yes, and to be getting that on a free transfer is pretty decent, isn't it? Where would you say he needs to improve? You'd say you said I guess his decision making is that just because he's like a young player who's still learning his trade, but like where would you say his big improvements need to be had?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes to his decision making, similar to like a Vinicius Jr. I'm not putting them in the same bracket, but they can frustrate when they do something amazing, a couple of dribbles, get past the player, and then the pass just isn't quite there. It's not, the right way, or it bounces off the defender for a corner. He needs to really improve that side of his game. And in terms of his finishing, so where he's better than Aaron Lennon is he's a way better finisher than Aaron Lennon. In terms of getting goals, he's got a great shot on him, powerful, low center of gravity. So if he can learn that killer instinct that Sonny and Kane have, when they whip it onto their foot and they're looking for the shot, it's just instinctive. They're not even thinking about it. That's the level that he needs to get to. That he's just burying four or five out of 6-7 chances. The same feeling that we get when, I don't know about you boys, but when Kane misses a sitter in a match, usually I'm not worried because we usually get another one and he buries it. That's kind of the same feeling I get with Manor. Watching him for the national team, if he misses a chance, I get really frustrated and I'm like, oh, he should have done better there. But then he'll get another chance and he'll put the ball in the back of the net. So if he can become more clinical, improve that decision-making side of his game, sky's the limit for this kid, really. And I don't want to, start bigging him up too much and get the expectations going. And there's all this Israeli Messi and all that. There's no comparison to Messi, okay, guys. That's not a good comparison. Don't want to build him up too much, but what he has got going for him, like Rafi was saying, is that right attitude. And Lord knows, after players like Ndombele's and these guys, we really need players with the right attitude who want to be there, will work their arse off for the shirt, and that's what Manuel's going to give you. And I'm really looking forward to pre-season to get a little glimpse of it.
And another, a very key strength of his is his dribbling attributes, right? A lot of people are saying in an Ange system, we need proper good dribblers on the flanks, and that's what he's going to bring us. But when you're looking specifically on the left-hand side, you're looking at someone like Heung-min Son, who he's going to be competition for. He's equally as good with his right as he is with his left foot. And Manor Solomon, I've seen from the highlights how good he can be with his right foot. But Rafi, what's he like with his left foot? Can he play with both feet?
Yes, his left foot is decent. It's not as good as his right, but he can play on the right wing and go through the left foot. So he still can do that versatility. Can play with both feet, but it's not the same level. I'm sure we will benefit more from him if he will play on the left and cut to the right. But in specific scenarios that we'll need a right wing player to play instead of Kulusevski, or I he can play under Kane, where Madison is playing if Madison needs a rest or something. But as we said, his best position will be on the left, but he still can play on the right with the left foot.
Do you think he's ready for this move? It's a big, in terms of what he's shown in Europe. I'm not saying he's been bad, but I wouldn't say he's set the world alight either since he's come to Europe. Not that he's not obviously shown his quality, but this is a very big step, moving to a big club in England, where I know he's shown flashes at Fulham, but obviously got a big injury and wasn't able to hold his place down for a consistent basis. Do you think he's ready for this big move for a big club like Tottenham? What do you reckon, Amir?
I think he's ready. Honestly, if not now, when? This is the perfect timing. FIFA have got this, crazy rule that we get him for free or whatever, so it's a no-brainer for me. It's very similar to with getting Eriksen back. That to me was a no-brainer. We should have got Eriksen back. We didn't. We saw how well he did up at United. This is a no-brainer for me. And it is a huge step up from him, obviously from Fulham to Spurs. But just like everything in his life so far, he's taken it in his stride. He made a very, very risky move from Petah Tikva to Shakhtar, to Donetsk, to take a risk on a team building young players and took a risk coming over to Fulham, and now he's taking another risk with Spurs. And I actually see a lot of similarities to Ange in the way that he's taken his career, and he's gone off to Japan and Australia and Scotland to make his route to Tottenham. You can say that Manor Solomon's kind of route to Spurs has been a bit off the beaten track as well. So I do think that he's ready for this step up. Only time will tell, but I'm feeling confident about his time at Spurs.
Rafi, we mentioned before it's the first Israeli to play for Spurs since Ronnie Rosenthal. Being an Israeli yourself and a massive Spurs fan yourself, being involved in Israeli Spurs, it must be a massive sense of pride for an Israeli to wear that Spurs shirt once again.
Yeah, of course. It will be crazy to see Manor wearing a Spurs shirt. And for me, I became a Spurs fan because of Ronnie Rosenthal. So I'm sure there will be a lot of Israeli Spurs fans that will become because of Manor. And I think we will see in the stadium, if we saw a lot of South Koreans going to see Son, we'll see a lot of Israelis going to see Manor.
100%.
Even now, there is a lot of Israeli fans that going to see Spurs. I can tell from first-hand because we have some tickets that we're giving for the supporters clubs, and we always get a lot of requests. So now it will be off the roof, and I'm sure we will see Israeli flags as much as we see South Korean flags. And I think it's good because Israeli fans are loud, so then the atmosphere will be very good.
That's good as well, but it's probably a really good move for your supporters club as well, because surely the supporters club within Israel is going to grow massively now.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just hope he will play, so we will not receive some 8 messages. Why is not playing?
Do you reckon he has the potential to be Israel's best ever player?
Yes, I think he's on the way to it. If you look at his career, if he goes now to Tottenham at 23, 24 years old, if he only stays at Spurs for this rest of his career, he will be one of the best players, because our best player, if you look at careers, is Yossi Benayoun. He played for Liverpool, played some for the other London teams that we will not mention here. So to play for Spurs for his, let's say, 5-6 years and hopefully get some trophy or something, will put him as one of the best players.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Really good insight into Manor Solomon. That is Rafi Ben David from Israel Spurs and Amir, who you see all the time on We Are Tottenham TV. So a big up to both of you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
No worries, lads. Take it easy. Get ready for pre-season. Going to be an exciting one.
Yeah.
Nice one, guys.
Rafi, we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take.
And that was a really good insight from over in Israel for the likes of Manor Solomon. So let us know your thoughts about Manor Solomon in the comments section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.